Yes, so let's revert to full line of sight. So we're going to delete all of this. And we're going to look at what we've been looking at for a little bit, which is that you have these tasks associated with some system design, like this diagram, which we can use to do targeted FMEA development. Now, there are a couple new things that I think are going to be worth taking a look at. So, as you remember, we have these old failure modes that we developed, which have this mode of severity occurrence detection rating. And you can see that these don't necessarily have a ton of details. So they'll have the causes and the effect. But the key is right now, these ones seem pretty accurate based on this block diagram, but they're not necessarily highly specified to tell you only causes in the child components and then effects in the parents components. So we've built a bunch of mechanisms to make that clear. Okay, so the way we're going to do that is let's take a look first at some of the new ones that we developed. So those are all of these down here, and you see the fields have changed a little bit. So these are some really high level failures, like failure to start driving, loss of power during operation, because we're talking about the entire task, not just the components. And what you'll see in a minute is the focus element that we select to do that is going to be ref1. So it's just going to be the task itself rather than some item in the block diagram. But we can use, for example, these extracted items from the block diagram to target the focus element. So you can click into one and see some of what was developed, and then we'll come back and see how that gets done continuously. So you can see, for example, that it came up with, okay, so it defined the function, it defined the focus element, and then it said, okay, what is the direct cause of this failure based on everything that was outlined there? And what's the local effect? Then what is the effect to the children? And then what's the effect to the parents? And you can see that we start to think about these at even more grand levels. But for some of the failures that are at actually smaller focus elements, we can do a much better job. So that is all great. So now let's actually see how we control this and watch it as it goes. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to see what the end state would look like. So we're going to look at this analyze completeness, which tells us, well, actually, we're going to try just generating more and seeing what it provides us along the way. So we're going to hit generate. And what this is doing is it is starting off and it is going to try to identify new failure modes that were not covered by the previous set. So there we go. So iteration one, it proposed three failure modes. So these three motor salts during operation. And it says why it believes that the full list, so not just these, but all of the existing failure modes don't in fact cover all the expected scope. So for example, you see this is citing 12100, but we can guide that again based on some other stuff. So yeah, this is what you continue to see as we go. You can see the agent working, and we can inject feedback into this dynamically, or we can stop generation. And yeah, we're going to start doing that, and we're going to take a look at what we can do later.